Superfly. How's the community doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. I am live here in Orlando, Florida in my hotel. So the view behind me might look a little different than it has in the past. So we're going to give some people some time to log on here and get with us. We're an hour earlier today, so I hope that didn't mess you guys up. I hope you're able to join us. If not, you can always check in and watch this at another time. So again, I'm here at Pan Am Masters Championships, which is a swim meet. It's a pretty big meet. There's about 1,700 swimmers entered from all of the Americas. So we have North America, South America represented. So I'm here with my team. So like I said, the scenery behind me might look a little different than what you've seen in some of the other videos. So before we get started, I just want to share something about this meet. It's pretty interesting when you attend these meets, the various types of swimmers that you see. And these aren't just all Americans. These are people from Mexico and South America and many places. So yesterday, the 50 backstroke, the men's 50 backstroke took place. And heat one, there was 27 heats. So each heat has 8 swimmers in the heat. So in heat one, for the men, the youngest swimmer in that heat was 91 years old. The oldest swimmer was 96 years old. So that's proof that you can swim late into life. I'm not sure how many 90-year-olds are out there doing triathlons and some of the other sports that we all love, but swimming is one of those that you can do late into life. And just to extend that a little bit further, the top 7 heats of the men's, and like I said, there was 27. So the first 7 heats of men everybody was 70 years old or older. So that's proof that you can swim pretty late in life. So I just wanted to share that little bit of tidbit with you about the Pan Am's meet. All right, so today we're going to talk about hand entry and your catch. I'm David Miner. I am one of the Superfly swim coaches, and I am here, working with Adam and Tanya at Superfly. I also run Swim Without Limits, which is my own business, which has to do with swim coaching and swim events. So, you can check us out on swimwithoutlimits.com as well. So hand entry and the catch, okay? Really important part of swimming. All right, we kind of touched on it last week. So we're going to pick up from where that high elbow recovery that we worked on last week. We're going to pick that up here and continue on with that. Hey Jamie, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. I saw you pop in there. So in high elbow recovery, we talked about getting our elbow high on the whole recovery. I talked to you about doing the zipper drill to help work on that. So now that you're on your recovery, all right, we want to make sure that our hand is entering correctly in the right place so that you're ready for your catch and your pull, making your swim stroke. So the hand needs to enter, okay, in front or just to the outside of your shoulder. So you don't want your hand to come in front of your face or in front of your head. You don't even want it to come in front of your ear and put your arm on any type of angle. You don't want your elbow bent. So when your elbow's high, you're going to recover. All right, and your hand is going to enter the water first. Okay, this allows you, to get set up in a right position for the catch, which we're going to get to here. So you want that hand to enter just in front or just to the outside of the shoulder. You do not want to cross over in front of your face, and you don't want to even come in front of your ear. The second thing you want to make sure you're doing is when you do enter, okay, you don't want to slide your arm across. So you may enter in a good spot. I've seen swimmers do that. They enter in a good spot, but then they cross over underwater, right? So we don't want to do that either. If you can see my arm position here, if I cross over in front of my arm, my face or my head, look at this angle of my arm. Now my body is moving forward through the water, all right? So this is going to create a lot of drag in front of me. So we do not want to be crossing over. The other thing that crossing over does is when you take your stroke, okay, you're going to come underneath your center line and work your way towards your hip. That's going to put a lot of pressure on your deltoid and your upper shoulder muscle. Over time, you can possibly create impingements in your shoulder. So you don't want to get in the habit of crossing over and pulling across your plane. You want to keep it wide. So in front of your shoulder or just to the outside of your shoulder. The other thing that this does is it gets you ready to, in that position, to use your lat muscles to swim. We just talked about what can happen when we cross over and we pull across our plane with that shoulder muscle. But what we want to use is our lats. I mean, you guys have probably all watched the swimming of the Olympics, and you watch those men and women, and their backs look like they have wings. I mean, their lats are so developed and so built because they really swim hard with those lats. So pulling out here wider is really going to make those lats become much more engaged in your swim stroke, and they're a bigger muscle, so they're going to provide you more power, more strength, and give you more energy. So it's like kind of doing pull-ups. If you're on a pull-up bar in a gym, you're probably not going to be in here doing pull-ups. You're going to be out here wide, really engaging those lats. So that's the other thing, that keeping those hands, that hand entry wide in front of your shoulder just to the outside is going to allow you to do. So how does the hand enter the water? So you may see swimmers entering with their thumb and pivoting their hand over. You may see people entering kind of with their pinky first, but we want to enter with our hand nice and flat. Okay, we want the middle fingers here to enter the water first. We don't want our thumb or our pinky to enter first. That means our hand is pitched in some direction. So we want to enter those fingertips, then the wrist will follow, then the forearm, and then the elbow, and you extend out in front. Okay, so fingertips, followed by the wrist, followed by the forearm, then the elbow, and you'll reach and extend out in front. Okay, so no putting in the thumb. That can also start to create impingements in your shoulder. You can probably sit there now and take your hand and twist it this way and feel that muscle and that socket in there kind of engaging, and over time that can create impingements. The second thing that's really good when you want to focus on with that flat hand is now your hand's in the right position and ready to go for your catch. If you enter with it pivoted or pitched in some way, now you have to get it in the right position to take that stroke. If you enter your hand flat in the right spot, it's there, it's ready to go. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to move it from in front of your face over to here. You don't have to take your hand and pitch it back over. It's there, it's ready to go. So it's less movement and requiring less energy. So really focus on entering that hand out just to the outside of your shoulder, keeping that hand nice and flat, and extending it out in front of you. So fingertips first, followed by the wrist, followed by the forearm, followed by the elbow. We don't want to place that forearm on the water first. We don't want that elbow to come down on the water first in the arm. We don't want to come in and ski across the surface of the water with our hand entering the water. We want the fingertips first. And we talked about high elbow last week. So if you're swimming with a high elbow and you're continuing that stroke up front with that high elbow, that hand's going to go in first. If you let that shoulder drop or that elbow drop, you're going to hit the surface first with that. So keeping that elbow nice and high and letting that hand enter first. Okay. Once the hand enters, like I said, you're going to extend it out in front. Okay, not in front of your face, but nice out in front of your shoulder. Okay. Like I also mentioned, don't crossing over. All right. So with your hand extended out in front, now you're ready for the catch. All right, now, which is what we're going to talk about next. So we're out in front, we're extended, the water's flowing over us nice and clean in a good streamlined position. Now we have to get ourselves in a catch position so that we can actually execute our stroke. So how do we do that? So one, you want to set your elbow about 4 to 6 inches below the surface of the water. So when I mean set, you're going to kind of anchor it in place, okay? So you're still riding and gliding out in front. That elbow's going to set into place, and you're going to start that catch, okay? You want to feel that from your elbow down, it's going to start to bend, all right? Start to grab that water. You want to feel that water pressure starting on the tips of your fingers, and it's going to move onto your palm, and then it's going to move onto your lower forearm. So you want to really feel and catch that water out front, okay? We don't want to be bending our wrists, okay? We're not scooping water, so we want to keep that elbow high and set, and we want to start to grab that water. So we're going to get more into next week, the early vertical forearm and how we execute our stroke and how we finish our stroke. But now we're getting set up, our hands getting entering the water correctly, all right? We're grabbing and catching that water with our elbows sat in the right place. Now we're ready for the early vertical forearm, okay, which comes next week. We're going to get into that as we catch and pull and then as we finish our stroke. So that'll be next week. All right, so remember, fingertips first, entering that water, wrist, forearm, elbow to follow, extending out in front of your shoulder, not in front of your face or even your ear. As you start to catch that water, set that elbow, feel that water pressure on the tips of your fingers as it moves onto your palm of your hand into your lower forearm. Okay, so there's a drill we can do that's going to help with some of this, and it's the one-arm freestyle drill. This is going to focus on entering your hand correctly and feeling a good catch. So how do we do this? So with your high elbow recovery, okay, which we talked about last time, all right, your hand is going to enter just in front, okay, of your shoulder, with your fingers entering first. You're going to have your palms facing down. Your hand should be flat, and you're not going to be rotated or pitched, and you're going to grab that water. So you want the opposite arm up in front, and you're going to be swimming freestyle, okay? Opposite arm out in front, nice and high, gliding through the water. Don't have it bent in front of you, nice and high. If you don't have a real strong kick, you may want to throw some fins on to give yourself a little extra propulsion, all right? So hold that hand out in front, and you're going to swim, all right? Really work on, even if you want to look at how your hand's entering the water, how your catch is, don't worry about your head position so much on the drill. If you want to look up and kind of say, hey, what's happening with my hand here? Am I entering correctly? You can look up and see if you're crossing over in front of yourself. So execute that one-arm freestyle, all right? And swim a 25 right arm, and then turn around and swim a 25, swimming with just your left arm, okay? That's really going to help you focus on getting that hand in the water correctly and also starting your catch. Okay, so let's try that. That's your homework for next week. All right, work on that one-arm freestyle drill. Make sure, like I said, if you need some fins to help you move a little bit quicker, go for it, but not a big kick back there. Nice and steady, nice and easy. Really working on getting that extension and getting that catch. So Tom here asked a question, any strength training I should focus on to work on? Band work is really well, working on developing your lats. All right, pulling is good, but I also recommend the opposite of pulling, which is pushing. Okay, I'm not a strength training coach, so I don't do a ton of that but I do give advice. So I really like not just pulling exercises, but also pushing exercises to really work on those muscles in an opposite way. We do a lot of pulling in this pool, so let's also work on the opposite. All right, so Elaine, would you repeat what you just said with your hand pulling through slowly when you are demonstrating the one-arm drill? All right, so the one-arm drill, okay, your hand, you're going to keep that elbow high, hand's going to enter. All right, you're going to extend out in front, keeping that other arm just riding up here in the front. Set your elbow, and then start your catch. Okay, then you're going to take another stroke, and you can breathe whenever you need a breath. You could also wear a swimming snorkel if you have one of those, and like I said, you can take a look, pick your head up and look at what your hands and your arm is doing. So we're going to start that catch. Next week we'll get into the pull and how we really keep that vertical forearm, but this week you're going to just work on that nice and good hand entry in the right place on the outside of your shoulder with a good catch and pull. I hope that answers your question there, Elaine. All right, so remember, you guys can always send me your videos, or I can set up a shared Dropbox folder for you if they're too big and you want to drop them in there, and I can sit down and analyze your strokes. Just reach out to me if you're interested in that. Our freestyle clinic sold out, so we don't have any more spots for that one this time, but hopefully next time we can get some of you guys that weren't able to participate, or maybe we can come to you and do something in your neck of the woods. All right, so I thank everybody for tuning in today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Whether you're racing, training, have fun. Go out there and practice this drill in your pool. Practice this weekend. Work on that good catch and work on that good hand entry. All right, no coming in front of your face and no bent elbows. Extend and reach. All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be back next Friday for our next number 7 freestyle, and we, like I said, early vertical forearm. So how can we get our forearm vertical as early as possible? All right, you guys, you have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.